afternoon, a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to CNN News 18. A Merry Christmas to one and all. For now, we quickly shift our attention to a CNN News 18 exclusive that's just come in. Details of the same on your screens, viewers. CNN News 18 exclusive. Pakistan airstrikes have killed 20 in Afghanistan. The Afghanistan government says they will retaliate. According to the Afghanistan government, airstrikes have killed only civilians, and they've also called these unfortunate strikes. This happened at a time when talks with Pakistan's special representative have been ongoing in Kabul. So this is the latest bit of breaking news update coming in. Some of those visuals also that we'll try and put out in just a bit. But going across to Siddhant Mishra joining us with more details. Siddhant, with Afghanistan government very closely monitoring the situation, tell us a little bit about how they're viewing this and most importantly about what we know with regards to these airstrikes in Afghanistan.
Well, Pakistan airstrikes killed 20 in Afghanistan. In fact, the Afghanistan government says that they are going to retaliate. This perhaps escalated tensions between Afghanistan and Pakistan. In fact, the airstrikes killed civilians. This is what is being reported. Strikes happened at the time when talks with Pakistan's special representative Mead was going on in Kabul. In fact, the Defense Ministry has called it a brutal bombing. Afghan Defense Ministry has called it a brutal bombing. Pakistan, in its defense, has to say that the security that this has been done on the hideouts of TTP, where and dozens of TTP militants were killed in the bombing. TTP sources say that the camp of Pakistani displaced people and civilians were killed. Earlier, Pakistan's special representative met Sirajuddin Haqqani and Mustaki in Kabul. So perhaps there are two versions that we are getting right now. Afghanistan has to say that the civilians have been killed in the brutal air bombings by Pakistan. Pakistan has to say that the TTP hideouts have been hit. Now, Pakistan always had issues with TTP because Pakistan security sources say that TTP is responsible for most of the blasts that have taken place in Pakistan in the last 1 year or even more than that. So the TTP targets were struck, but Afghanistan has to say that the civilian targets were hit by the Pakistani forces. And interestingly, it happened when the special representative talk was going on in Kabul. It would really be interesting to see that how situation unfolds here onwards. But right now, this has escalated tensions between in the Afghan region.
Okay, there's most certainly an escalation in the tensions between the two. Already there were tensions that were simmering. Siddhant, given the presence of Pakistani militants in Afghanistan, from that to finally, reaching a point where we see these airstrikes, at least 20 of them in Afghanistan, Pakistan airstrikes being carried out. You're telling us about the version coming in from the Afghan officials, but what about Pakistan? Anything officially that's been stated as yet?
Well, yes, they have, Pakistan intel sources have confirmed this to Manoj Gupta, that the targets which were hit belong to the TTP. They were TTP hideouts, and no civilian targets were struck by the Pakistani forces. So that is what Pakistan is saying in its defense, because they also don't want Afghanistan to say that the civilians have been killed or civilian targets were struck. But Afghanistan has to say that has called it a brutal bombing, and Afghanistan has to say that the civilians have been targeted. Perhaps this would escalate tensions in the whole of AFPAC region, which is already unstable. Islamist forces have a larger role to play as far as the Afghanistan-Pakistan border is concerned. Both countries keep alleging each other for the cross-border terrorism. And in fact, there have been many attempts also to perhaps find solutions through diplomacy. But it looks like that diplomacy has failed again. And, the way Pakistan has struck the targets within the Afghanistan and civilians have been, perhaps,
Yes.
it will mount pressure on the current Taliban regime in Afghanistan to retaliate. And there would be a lot of pressure on them because they cannot let Pakistan breach their their territory and come and bomb in the Afghanistan territory. Perhaps that has not gone down well with the Taliban government.
In fact, some officials from Afghanistan also maintain that the ones who've come under direct attack are the Waziristani refugees or civilians who essentially stand displaced because of military operations in Afghanistan's tribal areas. Many thanks, Siddhant, for putting all of that in perspective.